So we had some leaked audio from a meeting with Joe Biden. Of course, Biden was complaining about the slogan "Defund the Police," and it was killing the candidates during the campaign or the election.
It was a listening session on Tuesday, Bill, that this audio has now leaked out from, but the listening that Joe Biden was doing also came with a warning from Joe Biden for these prominent civil rights leaders that Republicans beat the hell out of Democrats at the ballot box when the talk turns to defunding the police.
They've already labeled us as being defund the police. Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing, which I promise you will occur. Promise you. Just think to yourself and give me advice whether we should do that before January 5th, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country, saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not. We're talking about holding them accountable.
So he's listening to his buddy, Obama.
Absolutely. His mentor.
His mentor.
Even though he's 30 years older than he is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, so, I mean, this is the talking point, right? So we heard from Spamberger.
Yeah. Yeah.
The same argument that, they're getting killed by this, socialist ideas. And, I mean, it's obviously a cop-out. We know this. We talked about it before. The problem is that the messaging was horrible, right? There was no populist message. This, if Trump taught us anything, the nation is in a populist mood, right? If you don't embrace that, then you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And now Biden won by the skin of his teeth because he was against a historically horrible human being. That's not nothing, all right?
Even then, it took 80 million votes to win this thing.
Took people coming out in droves. And, if he only had embraced even some of the positions from the left, well, who knows what would have happened? Maybe we'd have the Senate. I mean, we would gain seats in the House. Who knows? Yeah, they need to either adopt these things or they're gonna keep losing.
Who is talking about defunding the police? Nobody I know.
No, that was part of the Black Lives Matter movement, but I didn't hear any politicians talking about it at the time.
No, even the people there have that slogan. They're not talking about taking money away from the police or firing the police.
Yeah,
they're talking about, okay, we can give them $500 billion. We don't have to give them another billion, on top of that.
Yeah,
we can take some of that money and use it for something else.
Yeah, like public health or making neighborhoods safer. I don't know. Just there are other ways to allocate that money than just the police. Mental health workers who can deal with a lot of these police calls that police officers aren't trained to deal with. And there's many ways to do that. And look, there can be a debate about that, right? A conversation can happen.
Yeah, I mean, even these workers, they don't have to be trained as a police officer.
That's right.
I mean, they can be other people that can go to these calls. They don't have to be. Police job is to enforce the laws. Mm-hmm. Their job is not to go and
be a counselor.
Yeah, right? Counselor or be somebody's friend.
Sure. I
mean, their job is to fight the crime or enforce the laws and
use lethal force if necessary.
Yeah, and there is a reason why they're given a gun is because, it's required sometime.
Sure.
And most of the time, they're called to a situation where somebody's having a mental breakdown, and they're forced to use the only tools they have in their, lack of a better word, in their pocket.
Well, remember the story in McKinney, Texas, where that police officer was called to a pool party because some of the neighborhood,
neighborhood kids.
Yeah, they were having a party. They had invited people from outside the neighborhood. Some of the residents complained about it. The police showed up, and for some reason, the police officer was running around doing barrel rolls. He body slammed this young girl, 15, I think. Later found out that he had just returned from a suicide. And there are many questions. I mean, one, why is he still on duty? You know, that's a pretty stressful situation to be in. Why? I'm not sure why police should call for a suicide. That's normal? But I mean, there's a lot of issues there you could kind of unravel. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's one issue that really needs to be dealt with. I mean, especially if you're called to a suicide, you see it happen. That police officer shouldn't even be on duty. He should be
No.
sent home. That's obviously it's a pretty traumatic situation.
Yeah.
So just change the rules. You know, the rules can be changed.
Even then, I mean, why a pool party requires police?
Well, this was many black teenagers in a pool party,
Oh.
and some of the white residents were very upset about that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. But it was why. The young girl was a black teenager. She was body slammed. I think she was pulled by her hair. He pulled his gun on the people running by him. It was insane. So it was completely overreacting to a situation that, again, didn't even require police officers. So
You don't need police officer for a pool party.
No,
I mean,
you don't.
with the kids, I mean, you can send other workers, other court enforcement people, or
Sure.
somebody like that to do that.
So
And
complete overreaction, and so
Yeah.
that's what we're. And the problem with defund the police is the slogan. It's it's kind of pithy, it's kind of clever, but it you don't get a lot of information out of it, right? You have to really unpack it and see what it means. And of course, they can beat you over the head with it, right? They can do that if you don't explain exactly what you mean by it. That's something to think about.